Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to do something that might very well be quite stupid. I made a pretty conscious effort to stay out of YouTube drama. Seems for some reason that the drama sphere has blown up in a big way on YouTube over the past year. It's become a great way to make money, often at the expense of other people and the truth. Similar to tabloid newspapers and websites like TMZ, these sort of videos cater to our most vapid urges. They're frankly a guilty pleasure, I think, for a lot of people, and honestly, those people should feel guilty. In a thin veil of what's often disguised as so-called news, what we're actually seeing is the morbid fascination with the lives of people who might be slightly more famous than you, posted by people who do it for no other reason than to cash in. Any explanation that it's for the public good is as transparent as it is dishonest, and only an idiot would actually believe it. And yet, there are so many channels that do it and make an absolute fortune. It's low effort, it's low brow, it requires absolutely no talent of any description, and it's horribly destructive, encouraging a maelstrom of unconstructive negativity and insufferable, endless witch hunting. And yet, every now and again, there is something that is worthy of addressing. Every now and again, there is something that we should care about. And it isn't about the people involved, it doesn't really matter who the people are, it's about the principle, it's about the idea that this particular industry is plagued with dishonest people who are in many cases quite literally breaking the law to make money from and exploit the people that look up to them, the people that they have a responsibility not to screw over. At this point, I don't need to name names, and frankly, if I named all the people that pulled dishonest crap and scammed people on YouTube, I'd be here all day. The recent scandal involving a CSGO betting site, which turned out to be owned by the very people that were promoting it, gambling on their own website, which they potentially had control over the results of, is just another example in a long series of a complete and total disregard for professionalism, principles, credibility, backbone, and honesty, which is now sorely lacking in far too many of the people involved in this industry. And frankly, I am just absolutely sick of it. I'm sick of it on the part of those that are misled, and I'm sick of it simply because it makes the rest of us look bad. There was a time when we really didn't know what we were doing when it came to YouTube content creation. It was a very new industry, a very new medium. The laws hadn't necessarily caught up, and even if they had, maybe we weren't aware of them, and we made mistakes in the past. But unfortunately, that's really not an excuse anymore. The laws are very, very clear, especially in the United States, when it comes to the disclosure of sponsored agreements, when it comes to conflicts of interest, when it comes to outright lying to your audience for money. Those laws are pretty damn clear at this point. Ignorance is absolutely no excuse, especially when some of these channels are turning over literally millions of dollars every year. When you're starting to handle that amount of money, it's about time that you learn how to run a business, how to operate like a professional, how to actually take responsibility for the huge audience and the massive amount of trust that is being put in you as a content creator. It's about time that you realize how damn privileged you are, how unbelievably lucky you are to have a job like this, how thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people would love to have your job. Oh, they would. And yet, despite the fact that you enjoy this seemingly limitless success on the back of a job which is a dream for many people, you still can't bring yourself to be honest. You still can't bring yourself to properly disclose an ad, a brand deal, a sponsorship, or when you're literally involved in the company. Maybe it's down to fear. Maybe you're afraid that your audience will suddenly desert you if you realize, in fact, you're not their friend, you're not their wonderful squeaky clean idol that gives them nothing but love and entertainment simply because you want to make them feel better. No, not because you're making millions of dollars off the back of it. No, it's because you care about their feelings specifically. Remember, folks, everyone who's a partnered YouTube channel does it for the love of the craft. If they didn't make any money off it whatsoever, they'd still do everything they did because they're just so passionate about it. Oh, please. It's pretty damn easy to be passionate about your job when you're taking $20,000 brand deals from companies and failing to disclose that fact, when you're tucking away a little message in the bottom of the description below the fold that nobody can read, which said, hey, we worked alongside this company, or thanks to this company for making this possible, as if that's clear language. The unwillingness to put an actual disclaimer in the video that clearly discloses that the damn thing is an advertisement. And that's not a suggestion, that's not a kindness to the viewers, and you certainly should never be proud of having properly disclosed it, because in the United States, it's literally the fucking law. When you see these channels squirm every time they get called out, come up with ridiculous excuses, or in the most unbelievably insulting fashion say, well, I'm not technically doing anything wrong. If you have to rely on technicalities to claim that you're not breaking the law, if you have to resort to technicalities because your moral code is so utterly broken that you can't understand what it is that you're doing wrong, then frankly, you're the scum on my boot and I want you off this fucking network. YouTube and Twitch opened up a brand new era of user-created content. Finally, we could make what we wanted to make for people like us. We could provide the content that we never got when we were growing up because television networks thought that we didn't matter. Finally, we took the control away from people like that. We were able to forge our own path, build our own audience of like-minded people, break away from the corporate control of traditional media. We live in an absolutely unprecedented time. The ability to get our opinions across to people has never been easier. It's an absolute revolution. That's the only way to describe it. And what did people do with this new opportunity? What did they do with this privileged position of power that they have over others? This trust that was put in them by millions of people? Oh, they lied, they scammed, and they deceived for cash. As if they weren't making enough money already, they had to go one step further. They had to step into the realms of immorality and in some cases illegality to make a little bit extra scratch. Just when I think that things couldn't get any worse, just when I think that we couldn't stoop any lower, they find a new bottom. It's incredible. How deep does this rabbit hole go? Will it ever end? What's the next awful thing that we'll discover that some gigantic YouTube channel has done? What's the next disguised advertisement? What's the next scam aimed at kids? How many more people in this industry that I used to consider to be great content creators or friends turn out to be absolute scumbags simply because they couldn't resist the dollar? How many more people take the easy way out from shady companies rather than actually putting in some work to get real sponsors because they were respected enough to actually court those big, reputable companies? How many more people simply refuse to do things the right way because it might be more profitable to do things the wrong way? You know, I have defended YouTube content creators for years when it comes to criticism from traditional media that have said that YouTube is a wild west, YouTube is unprofessional, YouTube is filled with people who are willing to lie to you for money. And yet, you know what? You make me look like a fucking idiot for doing that. Every channel that regularly takes undisclosed brand deals and sponsorships, that engages with shady websites for cash, that shills a crappy product claiming it's their favorite and they use it every day without having even touched it once. Every channel that with a straight face has the audacity to sit down in front of a microphone and webcam and say to their audience of children, hey, isn't gambling great? You know what? Maybe traditional media was right. Maybe you shouldn't trust YouTube channels. Because if we keep going at this rate, if shady bastards are exposed any faster, we're not going to have any bloody YouTube channels left that are unsullied by this nonsense. It's about time those audiences wake the hell up and realize that those people are just manipulating you for money. It's about time that YouTube wakes up and starts to crack down on this nonsense, and it's about time that the FTC brings unholy hellfire down on the heads of those responsible. I am sick and tired of it. My colleagues are sick and tired of it. And if you're not already sick and tired of it, then I'd say 1, you have the patience of a saint, and 2, you're unfortunately being manipulated by people that just want your cash. I have quite frankly had it with being professional to those who wouldn't even know the meaning of the word. They can go to hell, and I certainly hope that their business comes crashing down around their ears for their illegitimate, immoral, and in many cases illegal behavior. I'll see you next time. Fuck these people.